Hello, this is The Flower of Freedom by Deborah J. Reeves. We're at chapter 134 of a three-part trilogy that starts with the book The Flower of Freedom. I'm going to start reading shortly. The rules are that you come in, you take your seat, leaving your burdens outside. Bring your good heart and your goodwill. Those are the admission tickets. If you don't bring those, you're not welcome. Here we go. Chapter 134, Pray in Sight. Hans wondered if Bertie had any friends of his own, and Bianca responded with a screed against Philippe, who was back in Paris, starting a computer business with some of her old friends from her teen years. Damien knows all about them. He'll tell you the same thing. Philippe, she assured Hans, was a problem of the first order. Bertie never seemed to realize how jealous and underhanded Philippe was. Philippe had picked Bertie's brain every night while they were roommates at the university to advance his own projects. Philippe was a sort of antisocial type, and he disapproved of anyone having fun at all. Ask Damien next time you see him. He'll tell you that Marie and Philippe were part of the reason their family was forced to leave France. Oops, I might have said too much. But in my defense, you're so easy to talk to, Hans, she said, fluttering her eyelashes and looking toward the ground in mock modesty. Speaking of Damien, where is he? I thought he might be invited. Weren't you his date on New Year's Eve? Hans wanted to know. No, I was not Damien's date that night. I went alone with my parents, and Damien stuck to me like gum on my shoe. I couldn't get rid of him. I have no idea where he is, but I have no desire to encourage him. He was my boyfriend when I was 14, and I need a man, not a boy, she said, looking pointedly at Hans, who grinned back at her with his beautiful blue eyes that seemed deep and mysterious, like a crocodile with ancient knowledge, she thought. When Hans asked about Bertie, Bianca was certain that he was trying to ensure that she was available. Bianca said that she had to work long and hard to make Bertie turn his eyes from those so-called friendships and onto her, but it had worked until it didn't. Spending all day running his business and paying bills made Bertie reveal his true and boring character. He was still a stallion in the sack, she assured Hans, who seemed well pleased by her assertion. But she had had enough. Bianca assured Hans the marriage was over. She was glad that she had removed the engagement and wedding rings shortly after she arrived in Uruguay. She waggled her unadorned fingers. She did not notice the cold, strategizing look in Hans's eyes. She spoke for more than an hour on a variety of topics, and she never noticed that Hans deflected any questions about his own life by asking her more about hers. She was absolutely convinced of his fascination with her. Once she noticed the smile on her father's face as he watched them. When the server brought over a refill for their beverages, Hans gruffly berated the man for spilling a little on the lawn. You might have ruined Miss Bianca's lovely dress, he said, with a thunderous look. The waiter apologized and almost ran back to the kitchen. Quite right, too, thought Bianca, thinking how nice it was to be with a man who treated her with the respect to which she was due. As they sipped the tart and fruity drink, she fluttered her eyelashes and she crossed her legs, once more pointing her painted toes. What do you like to do for fun? She asked. Fun's my middle name, Bianca. I have no idea where to start to answer that question. I'll just have to show you sometime, he bantered in return. Sounds intriguing. Can I count on it being soon? She cooed. Of course, but right now I have just remembered that there's someone here to whom I must introduce you. He's a professor of neuroscience at the University in Buenos Aires. I know he'll want to discuss the topic with a student of Wilder Penfield, and I'm certain that you will find him useful in your future. You're nearly finished your medical education, so it's time you cultivated contacts. Give me a minute, and I will find him and I will return. With that, he jumped up with smooth athleticism of a strong man, and he strode across the lawn toward the open patio doors. Hans always had a plan, and a backup plan as well. Before either Jeff or Hans set foot on the cigarette boat that morning of the Lugard lunch, their plans were fully articulated. It was Jeff's job to befriend Bianca and to learn everything he could about her. Jeff was a man who knew how to make himself useful to wealthy and connected people. He made it his business to supply their deepest longings, no questions asked. Hans' job was to be Hans, with a new goal. Last week, Hans had met unexpectedly with Damien at the restaurant they both frequented. Hans had been at the back with his most recent target when he saw Damien with his girlfriend Giselle at the table near the windows. Hans was not impressed with Giselle. He had always seen her with Damien, and to him she looked like an overripe melon. All women over 14 looked that way to him, but Giselle was curvaceously endowed to the point of rotting melon. When Hans had finished his meal, he sauntered up past Damien's table and pretended to notice him for the first time. He told Damien that he was going outside for a cigar, and he wondered if Damien would like to join him. Damien was pleased to be seen with the wealthy man, and he accompanied him to the dockside. As they smoked their pricey cigars, Hans appeared to make casual conversation. He mentioned that he had noticed Damien's escort on New Year's Eve. "Was that beautiful woman Jacques Lugard's daughter?" he asked. Wary, because he had heard of the friendship between Hans and Jacques, Damien answered yes, it was Bianca. That's the end of chapter 134. We continue with 135 in a few minutes. Thank you very much.